All right, so shall we make a start?
Sure.
Who'd like to kick off?
I can start.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Okay, so it's Chapter 2, Desire, the starting point of all achievement, the first step toward riches. When Edwin C. Barnes climbed down from the freight train in Orange, New Jersey more than 30 years ago, he may have resembled a tramp, but his thoughts were those of a king. As he made his way from the railroad tracks to Thomas A. Edison's office, his mind was at work. He saw himself standing in Edison's presence. He heard himself asking Mr. Edison for an opportunity to carry out the one consuming obsession of his life, a burning desire to become the business associate of the great inventor. Barnes' desire was not a hope, it was not a wish, it was a keen, pulsating desire which transcended everything else. It was definite. The desire was not new when he approached Edison. It had been Barnes' dominating desire for a long time. In the beginning, when the desire first appeared in his mind, it may have been, probably was, only a wish, but it was a mere wish when he appeared before Edison with it. A few years later, Edwin C. Barnes again stood before Edison in the same office where he first met the inventor. This time, his desire had been translated into reality. He was in business with Edison. The dominating dream of his life had become a reality. Today, people who know Barnes envy him because of the break life yielded him. They see him in the days of his triumph without taking the trouble to investigate the cause of his success. Barnes succeeded because he chose a definite goal, placed all his energy, all his willpower, all his effort, everything back of that goal. He did not become the partner of Edison the day he arrived. He was content to start the most menial work as long as it provided an opportunity to take even one step toward his cherished goal. 5 years passed before the chance he had been seeking made its appearance. During all those years, not one ray of hope, not one promise of attainment of his desire had been held out to him. To everyone except himself, he appeared only another cog in the Edison business wheel. But in his own mind, he was the partner of Edison every minute of the time, from the very day that he first went to work there. It is a remarkable illustration of the power of a definite desire. Barnes won his goal because he wanted to be a business associate of Mr. Edison more than he wanted anything else. He created a plan by which to attain that purpose, but he burned all bridges behind him. He stood by his desire until it became the dominating obsession of his life, and finally stopped. When he went to Orange, he did not say to himself, I will try to induce Edison to give me a job of some sort. I think that's supposed to say sort. He said, I will see Edison and put him on notice that I have come to go into business with him. He did not say, I will work there for a few months, and if I get no encouragement, I will quit and get a job somewhere else. He did say, I will start anywhere. I will do anything Edison tells me to do, but before I am through, I will be his associate. He did not say, I will keep my eyes open for another opportunity in case I fail to get what I want in the Edison organization. He said, there is but one thing in this world that I am determined to have, and that is a business association with Thomas A. Edison. I will burn all bridges behind me and stake my entire future on my ability to get what I want. He left himself no possible way of retreat. He had to win or perish. That is all there is to the Barnes story of success. A long while ago, a great warrior faced a situation which made it necessary for him to make a decision which ensured his success on the battlefield. He was about to send his armies against a powerful foe whose men outnumbered his own. He loaded his soldiers into boats, sailed to the enemy's country, unloaded soldiers and equipment, then gave the order to burn the ships that had carried them. Addressing his men before the first battle, he said, "You see the boats going up in smoke? That means that we cannot leave these shores alive unless we win. We now have no choice. We win or we perish." They won. Every person who wins in any undertaking must be willing to burn his ships and cut all sources of retreat. Only by doing so can one be sure of maintaining that state of mind known as a burning desire to win, essential to success. The morning after the Great Chicago Fire, a group of merchants stood on State Street looking at the smoking remains of what had been their stores. They went into a conference to decide if they would try to rebuild or leave Chicago and start over in a more promising section of the country. They reached a decision, all except one, to leave Chicago. The merchant who decided to stay and rebuild pointed a finger at the remains of his store and said, "Gentlemen, on that very spot I will build the world's greatest store, no matter how many times it may burn down." That was more than 50 years ago. The store was built. It stands there today, a towering monument to the power of that state of mind known as a burning desire. The easy thing for Marshall Field to have done would have been exactly what his fellow merchants did. When the going was hard and the future looked dismal, they pulled up and went where the going seemed easier. Mark well this difference between Marshall Field and the other merchants, because it is the same difference which distinguishes Edwin C. Barnes from thousands of other young men who have worked in the Edison organization. It is the same difference which distinguishes practically all who succeed from those who fail. Would someone else like a turn?
Yes, I would like to. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, great. Okay. Every human being who reaches the age of understanding of the purpose of money wishes for it. Wishing will not bring riches, but desiring riches with a state of mind that becomes an obsession, even planning definite ways and means to acquire riches and backing those plans with persistence, which does not recognize failure, will bring riches. The method by which desire for riches can be transmuted into financial equivalent consists of 6 definite practical steps. Viz. First, fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. It is not sufficient merely to say, "I want plenty of money." Be definite as to the amount. There is a psychological reason for definiteness, which will be described in the subsequent chapter. Second, determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money you desire. There is no such reality as something for nothing. Third, establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money you desire. Fourth, create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you are ready or not, to put this plan into action. Fifth, write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire. Name the time limit for its acquisition. State what you intend to give in return for the money, and describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. Sixth, read your written statement aloud twice daily, once just before retiring at night, and once after arising in the morning, as you read and feel and believe yourself already in possession of the money. It is important that you follow the instructions described in these 6 steps. It is especially important that you observe and follow the instructions in the 6th paragraph. You may complain that it is impossible for you to see yourself in possession of money before you actually have it. Here is where the burning desire will come to your aid. If you truly desire money so keenly that your desire is an obsession, you will have no difficulty in convincing yourself that you will acquire it. The object is to want money, and to become so determined to have it that you convince yourself you will have it. Only those who become money conscious ever accumulate great riches. Money consciousness means that the mind has becomes so thoroughly saturated with the desire for money that one can see oneself already in possession of it. To the uninitiated, who has not been schooled in the working principles of the human mind, these instructions may appear impractical. It may be helpful to all who fail to recognize the soundness of the 6 steps, to know that the information they convey was received from Andrew Carnegie, who began as an ordinary laborer in the steel mills, but managed, despite his humble beginnings, to make these principles yield him a fortune of considerably more than $100 million. It may be further helped to know that the 6 steps here recommended were carefully scrutinized by the late Thomas A. Edison, who placed a stamp of approval upon them as being not only the steps essential for the accumulation of money, but necessary for the attainment of any definite goal. The steps call for no hard labor. They call for no sacrifice. They do not require one to become ridiculous or credulous. To apply them calls for no great amount of education. But the successful application of these 6 steps does call for sufficient imagination to enable one to see and to understand that accumulation of money cannot be left to chance, good fortune, and luck. One must realize that all who have accumulated great fortunes first did a certain amount of dreaming, hoping, wishing, desiring, and planning before they acquired money. You may as well know right here that you can never have riches in great quantities unless you can work yourself into a white heat of desire for the money and actually believe you will possess it. You may as well know also that every great leader from the dawn of civilization down to the present was a dreamer. Christianity is the great potential power in the world today because its founder was an intense dreamer who had the vision and the imagination to see realities in their mental and spiritual form before they had been transmuted into physical form. If you do not see great riches in your imagination, you will never see them in your bank balance. Never in the history of America has there been so great an opportunity for practical dreamers as now exists. The 6-year economic collapse has reduced all men substantially to the same level. A new race is about to be run. The stakes represent huge fortunes which will be accumulated within the next 10 years. The rules of the race have changed because we now live in a changed world that definitely favors the masses. Those who had but little or no opportunity to win under the conditions existing during the Depression, when fear paralyzed growth and development. We who are in this race for riches should be encouraged to know that this changed world in which we live is demanding new ideas, new ways of doing things, new leaders, new inventors, new methods of teaching, new methods of marketing, new literature, new features for the radio, new ideas for moving pictures. Back of all this demand for the new and better things, there is one quality which one must possess to win, and that is a definiteness of purpose. The knowledge of what one wants and a burning desire to possess it. Next, please.
I can go.
Go ahead.
Okay. The business depression marked the death of one age and the birth of another. This changed world requires practical dreamers who can and will put their dreams into action. The practical dreamers have always been and always will be the pattern makers of civilization. We who desire to accumulate riches should remember the real leaders of the world always have been men who harness and put into practical use the intangible, unseen forces of unborn opportunity and have converted those forces or impulses of thought into skyscrapers, cities, factories, airplanes, automobiles, and every form of convenience that makes life more pleasant. Tolerance and an open mind are practical necessities of the dreamer of today. Those who are afraid of new ideas are doomed before they start. Never has there been a time more favorable to pioneers than the present. True, there is no wild and woolly West to be conquered, as in the days of the covered wagon, but there is a vast business, financial, and industrial world to be remolded and redirected along new and better lines. In planning to acquire your share of the riches, let no one influence you to scorn the dreamer. To win the big stakes in the changed world, you must catch the spirit of the great pioneers of the past, whose dreams have given to civilization all that it has of value, the spirit which serves as the lifeblood of our own country, your opportunity and mine to develop and market our talents. Let us not forget, Columbus dreamed of an unknown world, staked his life on the existence of such a world, and discovered it. Copernicus, did I say that right? Copernicus,
Yes.
the great astronomer, dreamed of a multiplicity of worlds and revealed them. No one denounced him as impractical after he had triumphed. Instead, the world worshipped at his shrine, thus proving once more that success requires no apologies, failure permits no alibis. If the thing you wish to do is right, and you believe in it, go ahead and do it. Put your dream across and never mind what they say if you meet with temporary defeat, for they perhaps do not know that every failure brings with it the seed of an equivalent success. Henry Ford, poor and uneducated, dreamed of a horseless carriage, went to work with what tools he possessed without waiting for opportunity to favor him. And now evidence of his dream belts the entire world. He has put more wheels into operation than any man who ever lived because he was not afraid to back his dreams. Thomas Edison dreamed of a lamp that could be operated by electricity, began where he stood to put his dream into action, and despite more than 10,000 failures, he stood by that dream until he made it a physical reality. Practical dreamers do not quit. Whelan dreamed of a chain of cigar stores, transformed his dream into action, and now the United Cigar Stores occupy the best corners of America. Well, not anymore. Lincoln dreamed of freedom for the black slave, put his dream into action, and barely missed living to see the united North and South translate his dream into reality. The Wright brothers dreamed of a machine that would fly through the air. Now one may see evidence all over the world that they dreamed soundly. Marconi dreamed of a system for harnessing the intangible forces of the ether. Evidence that he did not dream in vain may be found in every wireless and radio in the world. Moreover, Marconi's dream brought the humblest cabin, the most stately manor house side by side. It made the people of every nation on earth backdoor neighbors. It gave the President of the United States a medium by which he may talk to all the people of America at one time. And on short notice, it may interest you to know that Marconi's friends had him taken into custody and examined in a psychopathic hospital when he announced that he had discovered a principle through which he could send messages through the air without the aid of wires or other direct physical means of communication. The dreamers of today fare better. The world has become accustomed to new discoveries. Nay, it should be shown a willingness to reward the dreamer who gives the world a new idea. The greatest achievement was, at first and for a time, but a dream. Next.
The oak sleeps in the acorn. The bird waits in the egg, and in the highest vision of the soul, a waking angel stirs. Dreams are the seedlings of reality. Awake, arise, and assert yourself, you dreamers of the world. Your star is now in the ascendancy. The world depression brought the opportunity you have been waiting for. It taught people humility, tolerance, and open-mindedness. The world is filled with an abundance of opportunity which the dreamers of the past never knew. A burning desire to be and to do is the starting point from which the dreamer must take off. Dreams are not born of indifference, laziness, or lack of ambition. The world no longer scoffs at the dreamer nor calls him impractical. If you think it does, take a trip to Tennessee and witness what a dreamer president has done in the way of harnessing and using the great water power of America. A score of years ago, such a dream would have seemed like madness. You have been disappointed. You have undergone defeat during the Depression. You have felt the great heart within you crushed until it bled. Take courage, for these experiences have tempted the spiritual metal of which you are made. They are assets of incomparable value. Remember, too, that all who succeed in life get off to a bad start and pass through many heartbreaking struggles before they arrive. The turning point in the lives of those who succeed usually comes at the moment of some crisis through which they are introduced to their other selves. John Bunyan wrote The Pilgrim's Progress, which is among the finest of all English literature, after he had been confined in prison and sorely punished because of his views on the subject of religion. O. Henry discovered the genius which slept within his brain after he had met with great misfortune and was confined in a prison cell in Columbus, Ohio. Being forced through misfortune to become acquainted with his other self and to use his imagination, he discovered himself to be a great author instead of a miserable criminal and outcast. Strange and varied are the ways of life, and stranger still are the ways of infinite intelligence, through which men are sometimes forced to undergo all sorts of punishment before discovering their own brains and their own capacity to create useful ideas through imagination. Edison, the world's greatest inventor and scientist, was a tramp telegraph operator. He failed innumerable times before he was driven finally to the discovery of the genius which slept within his brain. Charles Dickens began by pasting labels on blacking pots. The tragedy of his first love penetrated the depths of his soul and converted him into one of the world's truly great authors. The tragedy produced first David Copperfield, then a succession of other works that made this a richer and better world for all who read his books. Disappointment over love affairs generally has the effect of driving men to drink and women to ruin. And this because most people never learn the art of transmuting their strongest emotions into dreams of a constructive nature. Helen Keller became deaf, dumb, and blind shortly after birth. Despite her greatest misfortune, she has written her name indelibly in the pages of the history of the great. Her entire life has served as evidence that no one ever is defeated until defeat has been accepted as reality. Somebody else want to pick up?
I can go ahead. Robert Burns was an illiterate country lad. He was cursed by poverty and grew up to be the drunkard in the bargain. The world was made better for his having lived because he clothed beautiful thoughts in poetry and thereby plucked a thorn and planted a rose in its place. Booker T. Washington was born in slavery, handicapped by race and color. Because he was tolerant, had an open mind at all times on all subjects, and was a dreamer, he left his impress for good on an entire race. Beethoven was deaf, Milton was blind, but their names will last as long as time endures because they dreamed and translated their dreams into organized thought. Before passing to the next chapter, kindle anew your mind the fire of hope, faith and courage and tolerance. If you have these states of mind and a working knowledge of the principles described, all else that you need will come to you when you are ready for it. Let Emerson state the thought in these words. Every proverb, every book, every byword that belongs to thee for aid and comfort shall surely come home through open or winded passages. Every friend whom not thy fantastic will, but the great and tender soul in thee craveth, shall lock thee in his embrace. There's a difference between wishing for a thing and being ready to receive it. No one is ready for a thing until he believes he can acquire it. The state of mind must be belief, not mere hope or wish. Open-mindedness is essential for belief. Closed minds do not inspire faith, courage, and belief. Remember, no more effort is required to aim high in life, to demand abundance and prosperity, than is required to accept misery and poverty. A great poet has correctly stated his universal truth through these lines. I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. However, I begged at evening when I counted my scanty store. For life is just employer, he gives you what you ask, but once you have set the wages, why you must bear the task. I worked for a menial hire, only to learn dismayed that any wage I have asked in life would have willingly paid. The end.
Nice, thanks. Let's head back to Barnes.
I'm not good at poetry.
That was great.
I read them and I'm like, I don't get your point. Good chapter.
Yeah, it is. Barnes is such a good example of desire, isn't he? Like, he went through a lot to get to work with Edison. And even, you know, in the way that he turned up there looking like a tramp, the odds were against him.
Yep. And like it says, desire first appeared in his mind. It may have been was only a wish. You know, so everything starts with a thought or a wish.
Yeah, and then it goes on down the bottom of that page, and it says that he chose a definite goal and placed all his energy and all his willpower and all his effort, everything behind that goal.
Yep.
And in this chapter, he talks a lot about obsession, like not just a burning desire, but an obsession. It really it really gives the impression of taking over your whole thought processes.
Agree.
Something that's jumped out to me just when we were reading it then, which has more meaning now, is in line 42 where he says that, or actually before that, the start of the sentence, line 40, to everyone except himself, he appeared only another cog in the Edison business wheel. But in his own mind, he was the partner of Edison every minute of the time, the very first day he went to work there. So that's a perfect example. He's using the principle of not accepting the outside circumstances as reality. He only accepted what was in his mind as a reality. In his mind, he was Edison's partner right from day one. And
Lived from the inside out.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he did. So that's an awesome example, isn't it?
Yep.
Because he would have been right at the bottom too when he started.
Yep, and he kept it to himself.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Did it say that somewhere? He kept it to himself?
It did, I think.
Oh, he didn't though, because I mean, I think he did tell Edison that he one day was going to be working for him, but I think, you know, he just went about his job, never was given opportunities. I don't think, I'm speculating, to be honest, that he, you know, he just kept working and waited for that opportunity.
Right. Yeah, I was just not too sure that if I had missed something that it actually said he kept it to himself, because we've seen in quite a few places where it says, don't tell anybody about your dreams because you're going to have people, you know, discouraging you, kind of, right?
Well, imagine this scruffy-looking guy coming in, and he's working and he's telling people that I'm going to be working with Edison one day. I mean, you know, would the people he worked with him, or would they have like looked down on him like, oh, okay, you're better than us and all that? So I'm assuming that for the most part, he had in his mind, but he was going ahead with it.
I kind of just presumed that he didn't tell anyone just by the way it said here that to everyone except himself he appeared just another cog. So to me I just presumed that
Yeah.
he kind of kept it quiet, and to everyone else he just kind of slipped into the woodwork.
Good point. That's probably exactly what that meant.
Well, there was back in those days also, there were very few people that that were as aware of these principles that we are today, and they kept it to themselves because they didn't want to get it out there, or not everything out there, and so it was very much, it used to be kind of a kept secret. So that's the approach that he took, and I would assume.
Well, and you think nowadays people are told, go after your dream, go after your passion. Back then it was like, get a job and, support yourself and don't dream big. And so that's why I think he probably kept it to himself somewhat.
No, besides that, think about what happened with, with Marconi, Copernicus and Galileo were persecuted.
Yep.
Even going back not long ago. I forget the name of the guy, but he had started a health-related magazine, and where all the doctors were saying, like, if you had a heart attack, just keep. Just relax, don't do anything, don't exercise. He was coming out and saying exercise and, don't eat the red meat and stuff like that. And the United States government shut him down. And
wow.
And another example, and we were talking about it maybe last week, Tuesday, or not that long ago, how Napoleon Hill didn't actually include in his book a lot about the law of attraction and about vibration, because it just would have been way too out there back then, and people would not have read his book, right? So
yep.
He was the only one back then at that time allowed and permitted to share what he did, because it was very, it was still kind of just starting to get out.
Yeah, and he didn't actually come right out and talk about the law of attraction in this book for that reason, because he knew that people would just write him off as a nut job, right? Instead of
this book was written after the law of success, so that which goes deeper into the topics. But it was really interesting though.
Hasn't he been really masterful at still getting the point across without doing it directly?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of very.
That's why his book was more successful than some of the others.
Yeah, it was a way to be able to reach people through stories.
Yep.
And also, how he came up with the title for the book, because his publisher, the original title was like, the 13 Laws of Success or something like that, and his publisher said it'll never sell. So, how many? Again, I'm going to be, the sexist on the call. But how many women will pick up a book because there's a really good-looking guy on the cover of the book?
Couldn't you say the same about why guys pick up Playboys?
A little bit different.
Good point. Interesting point.
But seriously,
he knew his audience. I mean, he knew, there were other books before him. I don't know if Science of Getting Rich was before him, or even, some of these other law of vibration or thought vibration or whatever. And they, he wrote about the law of attraction, but he applied it. He wrote it in terms of everyday words that people could understand without scaring them off. And it was applicable to, like, you want to earn riches in this world. So, you know, he knew his audience, and I think that's why this book was so successful, and the title.
Yeah. The one thing though that the later chapters, where he's going into his dream council, his guides, that would have been almost heresy.
Yeah, good point.
The thing with this book, when it first started, and with everything else, was that when he wrote it, and we've already spoken about this, the word vibration. When you look at his previous works, the word vibration was everywhere, right? The reason it wasn't included had nothing to do with Napoleon Hill. It's not that he didn't choose to include it, it's because the publishers thought that it wouldn't sell as well with too much of this stuff inside. Now, the word law of attraction is not something that was being used back then. The word law of attraction actually came out when Esther and Jerry Hicks started going with the teachings of Abraham. That's when the words law of attraction actually started coming out. That's where Rhonda Byrne got it from. She didn't get it from anywhere else. She definitely did not get it in the sense of getting it. Now, the thing is that what he tells you in this book is a lot more when you start reading between the lines. This man knew a lot more than anybody else did at his time. When you go to Barnes and you look at what Barnes did, he didn't have a clue about the principles. He had no idea. What he was an unconscious competent. What he did was he used the principles without even knowing that he was using them. If we could go back and say to Barnes, hey, how did you do it? He'd tell you, what do you mean? How did you get to this point? I just wanted this job and I got the job. That's it. That's what he'd tell you. I wanted this job and I got the job. Well, how did you get here? What do you mean? And we would be going back with this, what you mean, and everything else. The guy would not be able to tell us how he did it. So regardless of everything else that we've been told, what Barnes did was one thing and one thing only. And that was, and this was key to me, and this should be key to a lot of people that don't have a burning desire. Because when they go looking for what they actually want, and they read this, they go, right, what's my burning desire? What is it I really want? And you start stressing yourself, and by stressing yourself, you'll never get there. You got to relax to find what you like in the first place. You find what you want, you find out what you really enjoy doing, and eventually you'll find what you really love doing. And you work from that. The burning desire is something that you build into you, which is why it tells us and it gives us the 6 steps. The 6 steps are not just there for no reason at all. They are to build a burning desire, because by inputting this information on a consistent basis to an emotional impact into your subconscious brain, you are not only going to feel it and think it every time before you go to sleep, and when you wake up, you won't even need the paper after a while. The paper becomes immaterial, and that is when you've started. Your burning desire comes later on, and that is why it says that it may have been just a wish. So when he turned up there, and the reason Edison gave him the job, even though it looked like a scruff bag, was because he saw in that person the words were completely irrelevant, because he might have been speaking French or Chinese and he wouldn't have understood. He would have known that that man wanted and knew where he was going. The words were completely irrelevant. Well, to a degree. I mean, if you said to him, I think I want a job and I want it now, he probably would have said to him, don't be stupid, get out. So he was able to express his burning desire. And that was the biggest key for Edison, is the fact that he saw that this man knew where he was going. He told him he was there to be his partner. That's obvious. He tells us that. But what Edison tells us later, and he says it clearly, it's not what he said. is what was there. It's that image that he projected and that the energy that Edison felt. And he said, this is a man that I need to get hold of, but I can't give him the job because I don't even know him. It makes sense. So he gave him anything. Barnes took anything to get to where he was going. And that is called starting from where you are. He started from where he was when he decided to get on that train to Orange County. That is where it all started, is when he finally decided to get on the train regardless of anything, and he wasn't willing to back down. And that is the burning desire, is when you know that it doesn't matter what it's going to take, you've got to get there, and nothing's going to stop you. And when you've got that, and you've got that focus on that one thing, then everything else falls away. And this is where he's at. You see, that's why there's certain things within the book that at times it doesn't mention. You see, Barnes initially went through the points of fear and other people's opinion and all of that. But the image kept coming back until he went so deep, it became his burning desire. It became a white hot flame. And he could not turn his face away from it. He had to follow it. Because if he hadn't, then he would have turned around at a later time in his life and said, why didn't I? But he wasn't willing to let that happen. And that is where, if you want something, is where you need to get to.
It's a good example of how other people can pick up on your energy as well, because his energy was so focused and so intense that Edison picked up on it. I think it's also a good illustration of how, well, Napoleon Hill calls it infinite intelligence, and the guidance that he feels that he was getting from there because of the desire that he had was summoning that power. And I think that when you have that such a strong desire like Barnes did, that you're summoning that extra power of, well, he calls it in this chapter later, your higher self or your other self, that people can feel it, they can pick up on it. They can say, this person's got an energy that they know what they want, they know where they're going, and so they just are gravitated, they're attracted to them.
Yes. I think that was the same thing with Edison. Edison probably it's that thing, even Edison would have wanted something more. For someone like Barnes to actually turn up there, it's not unfeasible to think that Edison actually attracted Barnes. I mean, if we're going to go by pure law of attraction, and there is no exclusion. And by no exclusion, it means that regardless, Edison must have attracted Barnes, because he would have needed someone that's going to carry everything ahead. That's obvious. If you've got a business, you want someone that's going to be able to push it, that's going to be able to project it even more, get better results, because you think to yourself, right, what do I need to do next? So you pull the people that you need. I do think that it's something that's not mentioned, but it's something that's not thought of either. So Edison must have attracted Barnes. And that's one of the reasons that he realized there and then. And it's just like you said, Nick, it's that energy that Barnes was saying. And for Edison, that was the key. That's the person that he wanted. And that's the person he got.
Yeah, they would have been on the same wavelength, put it in a layman's kind of a term.
The other bit that I like on this chapter is going further down, which is from line 53. And it begins to describe the differing, the negatives and the positives. And what I liked in that one is that it puts them really clearly for people that think to themselves, if I go and try and get that job, if I don't get that job, then I'll settle in for something else. And he tells it clearly, you're not to settle. If you've got a want, do not settle for anything less, because you can have it. You just have to continually focus on it, because you need to vibrate at that level, at that frequency, to be able to attract it to you. And if you're vibrating at the right level and you're vibrating that which you want, then you're undoubtedly going to get it. You have to. It's the law. That's how it works. And this is what I like, because taking all of those words out, taking vibration, taking laws, taking air frequency, all of that out, he puts it very plainly for anyone that reads this. And it shows persistence as well, the fact that he was not willing to give up. And that, to me, those little paragraphs there are absolutely essential for anyone that's ever reading this, to understand that, you know, you might have the desire, but you've got to persist at it. You can never ever give up, because Barnes got there and he got a job and he could have done fine, but he was not happy. He had the plan in his mind, he had the vision in his mind, and he would not give up. And they just give it substance.
Yeah, I've got some notes here. I think they may be from the Bob Proctor TAGR seminar, and he was saying, rather than thinking of the thing you want to do, think from that vantage point, to go there in your imagination and be it, to bring it into the now. And it also says here that you must act like the person you want to become and view the world from that state and live from that state. So I thought that was really good wording there, thinking of, rather than thinking of it, to going to thinking from there. Being in the state of it.
So what it's really saying is you've got to put yourself in. So for example, with Barnes would have put himself in the position of a partner of Edison, and he was the partner of Edison, and he was thinking from that position how, not how to get there, but I don't know.
He just believed himself to be that. He believed himself to be that already, and even though he was going through his day-to-day duties, in his mind he had the presence of being the partner of Edison, the energy of being the partner of Edison.
I think. Hi guys.
Hi, Rennie.
Hi, Ruth.
I think thinking from is a big difference than thinking about.
Yeah.
Because thinking about means that you are just physically here and you are thinking here, you're just daydreaming about it. When you think from is then you are already there. So thinking from is you are already in that situation, you already have it, and you feel good about it, because the emotion is also very important. We see that in the power. So basically what I think is that you have to, what you can do then is, when you think from, you are already there, you already have it. And there is no doubt about it, you already have it. You visualize that and you feel that you have it. And then you just daydream on it. So it's kind of, you are projecting yourself. You are not here anymore. You are already having what you are, what you want, what you desire. And I think there was another book, and I cannot remember it right now, but they exactly explained that. They said when you imagine something, you can be sitting here and then thinking about it. But when you imagine it, the heart imagination means you are there, you are creating that wish and that thing or that lifestyle you desire. So your imagination is not just sitting and then let your ideas wander about it and depicting it, but imagination is actually living it. So you are living what you desire. You are doing. You are feeling the emotions. You are there, and then what you will see is that it's kind of, there is a shift. You see, there is no here anymore. You are there. Now, when you are constantly in that vibration, then what you are doing is you are pushing your life right now to that situation. So it is being there, it is already there, it already exists, you are living it there, and then from there you are creating it.
That sounds like
When you are there, there is no different. There is no doubt anymore that you are there, that you are having it.
Yeah.
You know what you're saying, Rooney? Sounds like something from Genevieve Berendt, Your Invisible Power, because she talks a lot about imagination. It's one of the books that Bob Proctor keeps harking on about, and Sandra Gallagher.
And I think it is Goddard or so, something. I think the writer is called Goddard.
Neville?
He explained a lot about the imagination, and I listened to one of his the things of his audio on YouTube, and he explained this exactly. He says, "You're there. Imagine, for instance, you are living in your dream life. That means the moment your feet touch the floor. Next, let me say, the moment your feet touch the floor the next day, tomorrow, you are touching in your dream life. Also, when you are in bed, for instance, you are imagining this happened to me quite some time. When you are in bed and you're imagining this, so you are dreaming about your life. What is happening is then, the bed is the only physical thing that is real, and everything, the walls of your house, the walls of your, the walls of your house, basically, those you are creating it. So it's like a time machine. Your bed is there. You are imagining it. But what you can imagine is everything around this bed is created. Everything around this bed, the floor is my new house, my new dream life. So when you touch the floor, the next day, you're actually stepping into your dream. So it is not something in the future, it is something in the now, because your dream life, your desire, etc., it is in the now. But you are just creating. You are going there. You're going there, and you're living from there. From there, you talk to yourself right now.
Yeah, it's true. That's right, Rennie, and that's what we need to do to be able to have those emotions happening all the time. We have to be living from that space to be exuding the emotions that we need to put out to the universe to get those things.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do.
I even know when I'm cleaning my kitchen, as I've kind of changed, because it's not something I particularly enjoy, but now as I do it, it's like I love my big, beautiful kitchen, and I love having clean granite countertops or quartz countertops. So as I'm cleaning, I'm just feeling good, like cleaning my beautiful kitchen. I love my kitchen. I love it, everything, and even like tidying up the bathroom. It's like I just love my beautiful bathroom I'm in, and I'm just imagining, having that beautiful bathroom that I'm, cleaning or picking up in or whatever, and it's a nice feeling. Even out like picking weeds, it's like I love going out and making sure my lawn, even though I have, a lawn service, in my not really, but. I still like going out there and taking care of my flowers and, getting rid of the weeds, and because I love my beautiful lawn and my beautiful home. And it makes it really enjoyable to go out and do this stuff. Instead of it being drudgery, I like it because I love my surroundings when I'm doing it in my mind.
That's awesome.
I haven't gotten that far with mowing the lawn, but, the other stuff I'm working on.
Some people like to mow the lawn and have those perfect lines.
Yeah.
When they have those really large, big, beautiful lawns, and they look like they're
crosshatch and oh yeah. I like though, like on the first page on he talked on line 25 it starts. He goes, today people who know Barnes envy him because of the break life yielded him. They see him in the days of his triumph without taking the trouble to investigate the cause of his success. Isn't that true? You know, he worked for it. He says, you know, wishing will not bring riches on line 117, but desiring riches with a state of mind that becomes an obsession, then planning definite ways and means to acquire the riches and backing those plans with persistence, which does not recognize failure, will bring riches. So desire, applied faith, and persistence.
Yeah. And a big thing too, not recognizing failure, refusing to recognize failure and using it as a stepping stone, as an equivalent benefit. So important, because I have heard of so many people trying and trying and trying, and then eventually they just give up and they just say, well, I'm just bound for the 9 to 5. And that's just my lot in life, and that's just the way things are. But if you refuse to give up, I know through this philosophy, if you refuse to give up, you cannot fail. That is just something I hold on to so hard, because I've tried a few different things and I've worked so hard to learn a lot of stuff. I know that if I just don't give up and I just keep moving forward, doing something every single day, that eventually I'll be able to help a lot of people learn this and have a happy life.
Yeah, well, and like I've told my kids, it's like win or learn, never lose. So from every experience, you win or you learn what not to do and you move forward. And that's what you've been doing. You know, you've learned certain things along the way and you're growing and, you know, you're honing your skills to where, you know, it's going to take you to the goal that you want.
Yeah, and some people have such huge falls, you know, lots of money, or, you know, they lose face because it's the 5th different, you know, business venture they've gone into and it's failed again. And if we can get the message to them that, you know, there might be another 20 of those, but the 21st one is going to springboard you into your ultimate dream success, how many more people could there be out there, you know, contributing to the economy instead of being depressed at home?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there's so much failure happening.
I have a question. A question is this: if we see a goal, that's if we see a goal that's not something to attain, so it's not something we are going through, but it's something we are arriving at, or you are already. Let me put it like this: you are already. You already reached your goal. You already have all that you wish. You already have it. The only thing which needs to happen is you need to go there and stand there and then invite yourself right now to come to you. So you already have it. You're not trying to achieve it. The moment you imagine that you already have it, the only thing is, so you are there and you are enjoying it and you are having it already. There is a second you, basically, already having it. And that you have to take the position of that you, and then just invite yourself, like say, come to me, baby. Just let it go, come to me. You understand? So,
yeah, that's a nice illustration. I like that.
Because I did an experiment one time. One person did an experiment with me, and they said, imagine you already have your desire. You already have everything you wanted. Now you meet that person. You see, you meet not your better, but you meet the one part of you who already have achieved it. What would that person say to you? And I immediately said, that person would say to me, just relax, man, you already have it. You see, with a smile, relax, you already have it. Jump into it. You see? And now what I did is actually, the me who was a little bit worried that I didn't achieve the goal, I just jump into the other one. I jump into myself. That's basically, you have to jump into, you don't have to do anything. Sorry for that. You can jump into yourself and then stay there. So the one who already has it, if you imagine something, if you have an imagination of being a writer, of being this, of having so much money, of whatever, there is a person who already have it. You only have to, what you can do is be that person and then invite yourself, come on, come to me, leave it. This is so good here at this place. We already have it. I don't know how to tell you that, but that's,
yeah. Well, he talks about the other self in this chapter. Like in but he's talking about it in the sense of quite often we have to go through tribulation first before we find our other self. In line 341 on page 45, he says, "Remember too that all who succeed in life get off to a bad start and pass through many heartbreaking struggles before they arrive. The turning point in the lives of those who succeed usually comes at the moment of some crisis through which they are introduced to their other selves. Sometimes it's only when we're in real crisis or have had a real adversity that we find the strength and the passion and the energy to say, no, that's it, I'm doing this. And that's the other self. That's the higher self that knows. The other
that
self,
already
this
has
one
it.
here that doubts, it needs to be
Yes.
and not listened to. But there is the other self, or I call it the higher self, that knows that it's already there. You just need to only listen to that one.
Yes, and when you imagine something, when you dream, so when you're dreaming and what you're imagining something and you're feeling love, you are one with your higher self. So you are there and you're enjoying all those things. And what we people tend to do, because plants don't do that. Plants just go there and they stay in their higher self. You know, they have one passion and one burning desire is to become what their potential is. But we, because we have so many thoughts and we have so many possibilities, that's why we sometimes we leave the other self and we say, oh, that's not possible. We open our eyes and we see something which is not congruent to that what that other self has. We say, no, it can't be possible. So the moment you do that, then you are not in the creation anymore. Then you are going into another vibe. You're going into the vibration of fear, and then you start attracting fear. But if you stay in that other self, and if you believe like this is, I have it. There's no possibility that I don't have it. Look at what all I have. And that's also great gratitude, because the other self is constantly in love with what he or she has, and the other self is constantly grateful. So basically, you already have it. You can go there and then invite yourself to enjoy it. It's like a thin, very thin line. And when you cross that line, you are just there. So it is not, I have to struggle to become that what I want. I have to struggle to get what I want. I have to struggle to get it. It's not working. I don't see it yet. You already have it. But you have to leave yourself right now, leave this part of you, and then go to the other self.
Yes.
When he says on line 409, there's a difference between wishing for a thing and being ready to receive it. No one is ready for a thing until he believes he can acquire it. The state of mind must be belief, not mere hope or wish. Open-mindedness is essential for belief. Closed minds do not inspire faith, courage, and belief. But, like from what Rooney was saying, it's like, you have to be ready for it. You have to have that belief that it's there.
To get to that point, what you got to realize is, you don't even need to get to that point. This is actually really, really simple. It really is. The concept is so simple. It's getting yourself to believing it that a lot of people have a block with. And we shouldn't have a block with it, because you can prove it by looking in your past examples and the fact that this works all the time. It's like gravity. It can't not work. You can't turn it off. You know, it didn't start happening in 2004 when Rhonda Byrne wrote the law of attraction. It's always been happening. Yeah. Look at it this way. You get an idea. If that is what you really want, and it's something that you're striving for, you are inevitably going to get it. There's no question about it, but it's down to you. And this is the key. The key is how much do you really want it, and how much are you really willing to put effort into it? Because like Nick said, as long as we're doing something towards it daily and all the time is the mental side. It's seeing yourself there. It's putting yourself there, like Rooney said. You know, you're putting yourself into that place. You are that person that you want to be. You are on that holiday where you want to be. You are driving the car that you want to be driving. You're sitting in front of the desk that you want. You're reading the books that you want. You're putting yourself exactly there. And you're feeling how you would feel if you were there. And what it does, and it's good grief, it's something, it's on YouTube, and it's Abraham, Esther Hicks pulls a woman from the audience, and the woman says to her, what do you really want me to do? No, she was reverting back. She was saying, what you really want me to do is to believe, and so much that money's there that I don't really need that. I don't need to have that money in my life. And she says, exactly. In other words, you put yourself in that position. This is what acting as if is, but we're not really acting. That's the wrong word to use, because to act means to pretend. To pretend it's not really you. We're not actors. We are creating a new life for ourselves. We're creating a new life by putting ourselves into the shoes of the person we want to be. And to do that, go on.
No, I was going to say, you want to be the person. Like I remember I never finished that Art of Acting, but, you know, it's not about, you know, acting the part, but it's like being.
Exactly.
Like, you know, if you look at actors, you can see some that, you know, like it just doesn't come off as credible. And then you see those great actors, you know, Meredith Streep, they are the part.
Yeah.
They're living, breathing that part.
Yeah.
That's why there's so many actors who follow this philosophy, because they've experienced becoming something else when they've undertaken a certain part, and they've just lived it.
So what you can do is you can think you are in the role. You're like an actor, right? You can think like, okay, I can play that person. And then you can feel, okay, I feel that I'm that person. You can believe that you are that person. You can love that you are that person. You can become that person. So there are like many, many levels. And I think this book, Think and Grow Rich, if you combine it with the power of Rhonda, because the power is all about love, love, love. I think love, emotion is part of the equation. It's
Rooney, this is what this tells us, though. This is what Think and Grow Rich tells us. It's in the 6 steps. It tells you specifically in the 6th step, read the mission statement aloud twice daily, once just before retiring at night and once after rising in the morning. As you read, see and feel, believe yourself already in possession of the money. As you read, see and feel and believe yourself already in possession of the money.
Yeah.
What he did later on, when Your Right to Be Rich came up, this is the lectures, the Chicago lectures, he makes a big statement on emotion, in that it is a fundamental thing. Now, that little bit where he says, read your written statement aloud twice daily, once just before retiring at night and once after rising in the morning, that's actually in Your Invisible Power by Genevieve Parent. That is exactly the same thing. because she says exactly the same thing. And that's what Ch2 said to her. You've got to be doing this first thing in the morning and just before you fall asleep, because that's the time when your mind is susceptible to be able to receive certain images. I can't remember what brainwave, theta or beta or whatever it is, but it's when your brain is not fully awake to reality, but it's still in a semi-dream state. And this is happening as you're falling asleep as well. When you're getting tired and and everything around you begins to disappear and to dissipate. And that's why they tell you to do this then. It's because it just goes boom. And by doing that, we are putting ourselves in that position. It's like you don't try to break it down, you just do it. If you try to overanalyze it and complicate it, you're going to do just that. You just ease into it. It's got to be a simple process. Don't try to do this and that. Just do it. And that's it. That is how simple this is. What we do is that because we look at our external factors, all of the external factors, we overcomplicate it, and there's no need for it. When you get rid of the external factors and you think, right, what is it that I want? And you put yourself there, everything else dissipates, it disappears. When you want something, you don't start, when something goes wrong, and you move forward from it, you don't want to be going back to try and fix it. If you've already found a solution, you just work forward with a solution. Right? This is the same thing. You've already got what you want. Everything else is irrelevant. Your external circumstances, your environment is irrelevant. This is what you're dealing with now. What you're dealing with internally is your future. By causation, by effect and causation, it has to happen. It is inevitable. And that is what you've got to do. You just let everything fall apart. Do not overcomplicate this, because the principles are very, very basic. People do not need to understand. I mean, all of you guys are on here now at this moment in time. You understand when we speak about vibration and frequency and law of attraction. Anybody that picks this book up, they don't need to know any of that. The principles on here are so simple that all you got to do is follow them. I know that's true because I've seen a guy in Cyprus do it. If I'd spoken about law of attraction, vibration, and frequency, he wouldn't have a clue. But he knows that if he does A, B, C, D, and E, just what the book says, it's going to work. But what he did was, he did just what the book said. He didn't complicate it. He kept it simple. And this is the key. Keep it simple. When you're going to see this, keep it simple. When you're going to use it, keep it simple. When you're going to put yourself in there, keep it simple. Because you're creating a clarity for yourself rather than trying to create a bigger bubble of all of these circumstances for that to happen. Or this is what I've got to do, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do that for this to happen. Just keep it simple. Look at it, be it, you become it, and the reason you get those times is because that's when it goes in the most. And you've got to remember, Your Invisible Power by Genevieve Berend was written just before the turn of the century. So in the late 1800s, someone turned around and said, did you know that if you do this? Someone already knew this. Now, when you think about that, I think that's absolutely amazing. But what's also amazing is that all these thoughts, all of this, the power that we're receiving at this moment in time to do this already exists out there, because all of our forebears that have had any idea whatsoever, it's still floating. And all we got to do is open our minds to receive, and it happens. Every idea that could ever be, that ever was or ever will be, is out there. All we got to do is open our minds to receive it. And the only way to do that is to keep it simple. When we overcomplicate things, we create friction, and we create and we lose the vibration of it. Keep it simple and you receive it.
Yeah, and another, just thinking about keeping it simple and just turning things around a bit, I am seeing my true self as what he's calling here the other self. So instead of it being the other self or the higher self, that's actually the true self. And all of the, when he's talking here in line 359 about that men are sometimes forced to undergo all sorts of punishment before, sorry, I'll go a little bit higher. Strange and varied are the ways of life, and stranger still are the ways of infinite intelligence, through which all men are sometimes forced to undergo all sorts of punishment before discovering their own brains and their own capacity to create useful ideas and imagination. That is helping us to discover our true self. That is forcing ourselves to realize that this self that is sitting here sometimes thinking that can't accomplish things is the other self, the self that's been programmed on this earth to think that it can't do certain things. The true self is this voice inside your head which says, I can do this, this is what I want to do, this is my reality. That's the true self. The other self is the one, the physical one that needs to go through all these tribulations because we're too silly to listen to the true self. And so we keep tripping over and tripping over and tripping over, and hopefully we'll learn a lesson out of each of the trips and eventually get to the point where we'll realize that the true self really is the true self. This self here that's doubtful isn't the true self.
So when are we going to, when are we living the true self?
You can choose to live the true self in every minute.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
It's when you're feeling it. It's when you're feeling it. It's when you're feeling that what you're doing is actually what you want to be doing. You know, Rini, you talk about love a lot, mate. And that, you know, when you talk about love, it's when you're doing what you love, that's when you're living your true self.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That's why I like the last book we are reading. We are reading this book, of course, right now. But also the other book is about very simple. Either you love it or not. See, neutral love. That's it.
Yeah. That's it. Exactly. That's it. If you feel good, it's not enough.
Yeah.
If you love what you're doing, and what you're doing is something that you are so emotionally attached to, you're living your true self.
Yeah.
See, there's Nick. What's that book that we came across with Wayne Dyer? I can't remember the name of it. You're in personal.
Wishes fulfilled?
No. What is it? The impersonal self? Impersonal what?
The impersonal God? No. Is it?
No.
It's a Wayne Dyer book?
No, I don't think that was Wayne Dyer.
No, it's the one that he mentioned. It's the one that Wayne Dyer mentioned.
Because it's the impersonal God, I think.
Or is it impersonal life?
The impersonal life.
Impersonal life. But he does talk about the impersonal God. That's why you're remembering it.
Yeah. I didn't like it much until I read it again, but that's okay.
I know. There's what we were just talking about. What did I just mention that? What are you saying, Rooney? What did you say? You said something that triggered them.
What I was getting out of
I said either you love it or you are neutral to it. Either you love it or you are neutral to the situation. If you don't want it, you are neutral, and if you love it,
No, I just remember what it was. See, the theory behind the impersonal life is that everything that we do is already, in a sense, predestined and already pre-controlled, all right? And it's got nothing to do with our external ego. What it talks about is that everything that we do is based on what our true self really is. And the true self in what I understood from it is it's based on your talents and abilities and a guidance system to get you to realize them and to use them. And the way you do that is by feeling that strong emotion of love. This is what I want to be doing. You know, that passion. This is what I'll be doing. And when you start feeling that, that's when you can build up your desire towards it. Because you can, I believe that you can still build a desire towards something you don't want. And this is when you build a desire and you climb a ladder and you find yourself on the top of a ladder, on the top of a building, which is not the building you actually wanted to climb, because you built a desire based on something you didn't truly actually want, but you fooled yourself into believing it. However, if you follow your heart and you follow what you truly feel, this is where it leads you to your true self. And this is where it goes the right way. This is what Barnes did. And this is why this book has so much more in it than for us than it usually does. When you start to study it, you see more in it. And this is where you see why Barnes knew what he was doing. He knew the ladder he wanted to climb. He knew where he was going to end up. He knew exactly where he was going to be. Like you said, Rooney, about, you know, he put himself already there. He was the partner of Edison when he entered Edison's office at the beginning. He already was his partner. He didn't believe it. He knew it. He was the partner. And then he realized that this was his true self. This is where he wanted to be. So it's in this one story, on just one person, there's so much involved that we could talk about Barnes for years and still not resolve everything that went into Barnes' story. And this is why he says that's all there is to the Barnes story, because he could go on forever about it. Napoleon Hill knew this. He knew all of this when he was writing the book. But when he finally put the pen down, and this is what he says himself, the hand that picked up the book, the pen, was not the same hand that put the pen down. Because all the way through his journey, not only did he learn all of this, he experienced all of it, but it became so deeply embedded in him that it was more than just the principles. But when it comes to Barnes, and we look at all of everything that he did, the definiteness of purpose, and turning his dream into a reality by making it into a burning desire and a white-hot flame to get to where he was. That was Barnes's journey, the initial bit. And that is what this chapter is so one of the strongest chapters in the book, because this is where it all starts. You have to start with a desire, with a definiteness of purpose.
Yeah, what a desire does, and something that I'm experiencing more and believing more is, you know, that, well, the teachings of Abraham explains this really well, is that we're at the physical end of infinite intelligence and that it is focused through us for expansion of the universe. And so it's the energy that keeps us alive. It's the energy that comes through us to focus. When we can get a desire and a passion and love happening, we're summoning more of that energy to focus through us, because they want to be able to focus through us to create. We are the end of, we are the, how does Esther put it? She says, we're at the leading edge of creation. This is where creation happens for all of universal intelligence. So by them, and they are plural, by them focusing through us, that's how creation occurs. So the broader our passion and and the deeper our love and the more desire we have, we're summoning more of that energy into our beings to be able to create more and to accomplish whatever we want. So that's why the desire is so important, and that's what Edison saw in Barnes's eyes when he walked into the office. He could see that he had so much energy pulsing through him and so much help from infinite intelligence with him that there was no doubt that whatever he wanted to happen was going to happen, because he was summoning the energy. And if we can get out of this chapter that just having such a passion that we're actually summoning more energy of our true self into this physical body to be able to do the things we want to do, that's such an awesome thing to know.
Nicole, I think the feeling I get is exactly what you're saying. If you do not have a desire in this life, I mean, imagine you have 90 years. We give you 90 years. We give everybody 90 years, and you do not have any desire. So everything is like you are between love and fear. So you are right. Your frequency is right between love and fear, and sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. Then universal intelligence cannot do anything for you. So
that's what Napoleon put the 6 steps in here. If we don't have strong feeling about anything, like even with Barnes, it was just a wish to start with, and Christos has pointed that out really well a couple of times. But with the 6 steps, we can focus ourselves and we can become that white heat, like using a magnifying glass to burn through a leaf on a sunny day. That's a process that we can use to get that passion, because we get so caught up in life that we've lost the ability or the belief that we can have a passion that we can follow. We think we just have to go to work, come home, feed the kids and clean the floor and go to bed. But if we can teach people that they can get back to a place where they really can find some true joy and get some passion in their lives, and show them a process where they can do that, then they can develop the passion. There is the ability to develop a passion, and it doesn't have to be about something humongous. You don't have to invent the space shuttle. It can be about, teaching your family these things and having your children, watching your children do amazing things with their lives. That can be a mother's passion. Just to be a mother in itself is a passion. Like, I just want to be the best mother in the world could be the passion for some people. I want to be the best bus driver. Christos was talking about someone the other day. All he wanted to be was a bus driver. But if he's passionate enough, he has the ability to be the best bus driver on the planet of the Earth. So it can be cultivated.
Yes. Have a passion. Have a passion. Have a burning desire.
See, that's basically all of us guys are on here, and everybody that joins in on this. It's very difficult to turn to someone outside that doesn't understand you on this and say to them, "Hey, what's your burning desire? What is it that you really want to do?" And they'll look at you and say, "What? No, really. Is there anything that you love doing? Eating? Really? You love eating? Do you really love it that much that you could do it for the rest of your life?" I need to do it, otherwise I'll die. No, that's not what I mean. But it's so difficult for some people to actually find it. And this is why, we do this. This is why we believe in this. It's because we can turn around to other people and say to them, you can slightly guide them without being pushy. Because if you push it, you'll push people away. So what you do is that you can sort of be nice about it. Now, I've spoken to guys all over the place, and one of the best things I've recently seen is that one of my co-workers has left work. Now, also you'll probably say, "Oh, is that a good thing? You didn't like him?" No, it's because he's a really good Muay Thai boxer. He went to 3 continents, and he came 3rd in all of them. Now, I said to him, "That sounds a bit weird." He says, "Why?" I said, "You came 3rd in all of them." He says, "Well, no, one of them came 2nd. I said, "All right, so you came 3rd, and 2nd. He says, "Yeah." I said, "Why didn't you come 1st? He says, "Oh, they're really good and they're spending loads of time on it, and it's all the only thing they do." I said to him, "Huh?" And I just stopped there, and he just looked at me. And he said to me, "Don't want to talk to you anymore." And he walked off. Now, a week later, I find out that his previous job, He's quit the job and he's going to go and train full time. That's what he loved doing. He absolutely loves getting kicked in the head, I guess. Hey, that's his. But he enjoys his good time. Now, he knew his passion. He just didn't have, he couldn't get over the fear of how is he going to do it without working at the job that he was in. Now, once he realized exactly what he wanted to do, the resources came. How they came, I don't know, but he got the resources because he's gone and he's doing what he wanted to do. And for me, that's been one of the biggest pleasures I've seen from my workplace yet. That sounds bad.
Oh,
But
that's
it
nice.
is. It is nice, isn't it? But to see one guy believe in himself so much and say, you know something, I'm going to follow my dream. Now, I wish we could do that to every single person in the world. Reason being, if every single person in the world followed their passion, no two people would be doing exactly the same thing. You might get a room full of impressionist painters. No two are ever the same because impressionism is so personal based that no two people do an impressionist painting the same. It's always different. And every single one of us may not like the same person's painting. I absolutely love Vasily Kandinsky, abstract painter. People have looked at me and they've said to me, there's a lot of lines. I can't see anything. Monet. I love Monet, but I like abstract paintings. Most people have never seen an abstract painting and I don't even know what it is. But the point is that that's what I like. I don't like the rest. Some of them are nice, but I do like abstract painting. Could I do it? Probably. Well, my painting would probably be called abstract, but that's another point. The thing is that what we do and the burning desire to find a burning desire in someone else is a key factor, but you can't force it. What they do is that you say to them, what do you love doing? What is it that you enjoy doing? And sometimes it takes time. It took me a long time to figure this out. I'm 45 years old. It's taken me 45 years. That's a long bloody time. I'm going to switch off now. I'm going to go to a corner and cry. I've just realized I said that.
Well, there's a lot
You're
of
doing well.
variations.
Your life's not even half over yet. You've still got the other half to live the dream. How awesome is that?
What do you mean the other half?
I'm 20 years older than you, and I'm still young.
You go, Bill. I'm with you, bud.
Exactly. And you know what? I think life gets longer when you're living your passion because you're living it more and you're going to be able to live longer because you'll be healthier. Happier.
See,
It matters not when you finally figure it out, sort it out, so much as it is that you keeping on being curious of what's the next step and play in the curiosity of the journey. You know, it's kind of chasing the journey of curiosity of what's next. You know, it's just kind of like, you know, there's so many variations about, you know, and the different people because of their, you know, their upbringing or their environments, the way they've been conditioned and so forth, and the way they get you know, finally inspired about something. You know, it's like you know, when I started doing this studying Think and Grow Rich concepts, I remember subconsciously what was going on for me was that I'm going to challenge this to try to prove that to reinforce the paradigms as being the ultimate and only reality that can ever happen. In other words, it was like being in conflict with the inner and the outer and the desire and the resistance. And so it's kind of like, so then over time, it took time to kind of, you know, I had to work through going through stages and levels of letting and becoming aware of deeper core issues. And once I was able to address that, it was like, oh my gosh. But then at the same time, what was going on was that it was a gift for me to be listening to the story that we're going to be getting into next week, or in the next time in this chapter about outwitting nature, you know, the story of Napoleon's son. and that became my my definite purpose that I was standing out in me, was like to do exactly like what that that whole aspect is of, you know, turning the greatest attributes or the greatest strengths into an asset, or the challenges into assets. And that became my definite purpose, chief aim, and trying to figure out where I'm going with that. But yet that's a starting point. And so it's like, I can't go back in the past, and, you know, I can't be hard on myself, the fact that I haven't gotten there before up until now. But yet when we do, the older we get, you know, there is that point in time where we reach in life where it's a natural given, a period of time of giving back to life of all that we've gained and realized. And so that's part of the, you know, evolving.
Yeah, I think Napoleon Hill actually says in this book that most people don't come into their own until after the age of 40. All of the men, I think, that he interviews in here, Ford and Edison and all of those, didn't start their ambitions in life until after 40.
Yeah.
Maybe
I like that though, about the, you know, like, what is it, you know, what is it that would bring you joy? You know, what would be fun? It's like some of the questions that have been, you know, the ideas that have been presented, because that is a way to kind of sparkle and wake up, you know, get people to kind of be in that curiosity, the questioning, and without chasing after something or getting caught up in the logical or whatever is going on.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah. All right. I found it initially difficult to figure that one out, Kali. But it takes time to be able to figure ourselves out. And
Yeah.
you know, getting yourself to the point where, you know, your back is against the wall and you think to yourself, you know, this is not the life that I want for myself. That's when you start asking, well, if that's not the life I want for myself, then what's the life I don't want for myself? Then what is the life that I do want for myself?
Yeah.
Then when people start to get to that point, that's when I guess, you know, you get introduced to your other self, to your true self, in a time where you've had enough with what is, with reality. And you begin to say, you know, this is not where I want to be.
Right.
And,
Sorry.
and you've got to really dig deep and say, what is it that I do want? And this is why so many people fail in life. And I know it's harsh to say, but it's true. A lot of people fail in life because they're not willing to ask those questions. It's why he says, you know, you've got to have humility to be able to do this, because it's not humility in others, it's humility in yourself to say, right, okay, I've been wrong. I've been wrong about me, not about others, about me. And when you realize that about yourself, you begin to realize that you've been wrong about others as well. And that's one of the changes. And a lot of people say, yeah, but you know, I'm not there yet. Well, that's the whole point. You can't get there. You know, if we could get from point A to point B just like that, I think that'd be boring. I mean, all right, maybe it's a difficult way to do it, but we need to go through a process to be able to get to that point. It's like burning desire. It's a process to build that white hot flame, you know, of this is what I really want. Because to get there, it's got to be something that is constantly bugging you. You wake up in the morning, it's going to say, oi, you done that yet? You done that yet? You're going, no. Have you voted for the Brexit yet? No, bloody haven't. Why not? You know, it's that thing that keeps pushing you, and you think, I'm crying out loud, I've got to do this. And then one morning you'll wake up and you're either going to have a headache, a migraine, or enthusiasm. And the reason I say that is because you're either stressing yourself for not getting there yet, or you're enthusiastic because you're moving towards it, right?
Right, right.
Can I give you a perspective? One of my perspectives.
Of course.
Sure.
So you are abundance. You are eternity. You can have everything. You are everything. So I'm talking to you, but it's also me. We are abundance. We are eternity. We are everything. We have everything. Now we go into this life, and we got, I don't know why we do it, but we got ourselves 90 years. So it's 90 years out of eternity is like a dot. It's like in that dot, in that small dot, you push abundance. You say? So you push eternity into a dot, which is 90 years. And then eternity comes here, and it says like, whoa, this is a new place. I don't know this place. And then abundance is, so eternity is abundance. And then first, eternity attached to the world. So abundance doesn't know him or herself and attaches to the world, attaches to all kind of things outside there. And then sometimes, even at the last time, at the last second, before the 90 years, then he or she realizes, whoa, I had all this opportunity. So I'm glad. That's why I love that I read this book. I'm glad that I just realized that I'm abundance. I can take abundance out of abundance and I still have abundance. So what I'm saying is you have it all. When you change the perspective, who you are, then you will create. Then you will leave all the bad emotions, all the doubt, all the things, and you will enjoy your little dot that you gave yourself, which is the 90 years. Enjoy your 90 years.
Yeah, I'm not happy with 90 years, Rooney. I want more than 100.
It doesn't sit well with me either.
No, I'm not limiting myself.
Yeah, you are abundant. Christos, you are abundance and you are eternity. But just, we give you 90 years so that you can get a little bit perspective. You know, that you can get a little bit like, okay, I really need to do something in these 90 years. But I mean, if we give you, of course, eternity and abundance, then you would just sit there, enjoy the beach, and don't go anything because you have all the eternity, isn't it? So that's why I think the trick is I give you 90 years. It's limited, so that you get a feeling like it is limited. But the point is, when you see it in a bond, when you see who you really are or who we really are, then you just start enjoying your 90 years. You're starting pulling all this abundance and all this creativity. You are creating. I mean, you will create 90 years without doubt. And I just put something in the Skype. I thought it was another 40 years. I thought it was something like 25,000 days or something like that. And I just did that because I realized that, you know, I got maybe 25,000 days. Maybe I only got one day. So if I only got one day at a time, then I really need to create everything which I desire, isn't it? No doubt anymore. Because I gave myself this another 40 years, and I'm going to enjoy it and create everything in it.
Yeah, but why are you limiting me to only another 25?
Why do you put a number on it?
Your time is over. No, your time is not up. I mean, I just give you 90 years. You can come back. Don't worry. You can come back.
No, I want another 90.
You can come back, but just enjoy the 25 years.
You go for it, Rooney.
Put in days. Don't put it in years. Put it in days, and then you will start counting it, and then enjoy every one of them.
Hey, I'm going to at least 150.
I'm coming with you, Bill.
Me too. I'll go endlessly. Endless days, endless years.
You are abundant, Bill. You are abundant. Bill,
My feeling is I'm going to go as long as I can, as long as I am physically able to do so.
so
Yeah.
Bill, how many? The question is, how much abundance are you going of yourself? I mean, you are abundance. How much abundance are you going to pull into those 25 years? I mean, can you imagine how you can fill those 25 years? That's the
Yeah, but
desire.
what happens in year 26?
Yeah.
I
What is
don't have
the
anything
desire?
else to do.
Rudy, do you know what you're setting up? You're setting up a deadline to how long it's going to last.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Yes.
That means
Because
after that, then what happens? It's like, why not have it to be endless? Why does it have to be a certain deadline? I mean, death date.
Yeah. No, I said, Kaylee, it is abundance and it is eternity. So there is a duality in it.
It's endless.
You are eternal and you are abundance. And especially the abundance thing is interesting because the abundance thing means that you can do everything you want. You can have everything you want in those, let me say, 90 years. You see? So it is a dot. But the dot contains everything. The dot is so small, but it contains everything. I think that's the magic of it. Some people just say like, okay, this is a limited dot. I have like 1 year or 2 years, or I have 90 years. You see? Oh, I only got 90 years, so I'm not going to live it. The thing is, the game is, you got 90 years. It is one little dot of your eternity. It is one little dot, but you can put all the abundance into that one little dot. You can create the whole desire, everything you want in that one little dot. So the dot is also abundance, actually. It is an abundant life. When you see it like that you got this dot, but you can put everything in it, you have the power to put everything in it of yourself, then things really start happening.
I think what you're trying to say is if you give yourself a limit to your first point of success, then you know you're going to reach it. And whatever happens afterwards can only get better.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that the dot, the 90 years is not to make you afraid, etc., or make ourselves afraid. The 90 years is just, how can I say it? I mean, we are abundance and we are eternal. But until now, we have not been able, maybe that is possible, I mean, that's the next level, but we have not been able to experience consciously all those eternal years, isn't it? So in this reality, I've seen in this reality that, okay, on average, you got 90 years that you are conscious and that you can enjoy it. I just take that as a parameter. Okay, I'm playing with the 90 years. But the beautiful thing is, you realize that the 90 years that you are abundance, that you can do everything in those 90 years. When you realize that and when you believe that and you love the fact that you can do everything, then you can enjoy the 90 years its fullest. You see, and then maybe after the 90 years, you get another 90 years or you get another 1,000 years. But the 1,000 years is just to put things into perspective, because if I say, I give you eternity and I give you eternity, I give you eternal life. I mean, what would that be? If you have eternal life and you could be here forever, then maybe you would say, okay, I'm here forever. I'm not going to create anything. I have tomorrow. So I think there is a beauty to it, to die, because when you know you're going to die, and you know the game is going to be 90 years, and it's just a little bit pressure that you got 90 years and that you got maybe this amount of 50,000 days. Just enjoy every one of your 50,000 days. And it doesn't mean that you have to be sad. Just love your 50,000 days and use each of them.
Yeah, some
That's
people
what-
live like there's going to be no end to life, and they'll start tomorrow. So I agree with that aspect.
Yeah, but I think
actually, somebody told me, if you put this into perspective, I just want to enlarge it. If you put it in perspective, I also wrote something about this, is enjoy this as, so you got 50,000 days, but enjoy this as if it is your last day. So don't enjoy the 50,000 days, because you cannot live the 50,000 days. You live each day one by one. And even within that day, you live the 10 seconds. So you experience the 10, you got 50,000 days. You live it day by day, and you experience 10 seconds or 1 second at a time. So if you live this second, if you enjoy this second as the best second, do whatever you have to do, live and feel whatever you have to feel in this second. That's how you can live it. Enjoy everybody. Don't spend. I would say, I cannot say don't, but what I want to say is, if you spend one day being sad, okay, that's your day. You can be sad. But if you spend all your a whole year being sad, or a whole year being in fear, or a whole year being in doubt, that is, you could have spent that whole year in love. So it's your choice how to spend your days.
Yep. Yep.
Are you guys counting your days?
Contemplating.
hell no, but I do have my goals of what I am going to accomplish this year, next year, the year after that.
Being more in the present.
That's right. I mean,
Yeah.
look, it's sort of like having a bucket list, okay? But if you, to me, if you put a limit, and again, I'm a lot older than you guys, okay? And as I was telling a couple of the people I work with, who are, they have on the calendars, okay, out of the office, I'm going to the doctor. Hey, all you young guys are always going to the doctor. I'm the oldest one here, and I'm the healthiest. Okay? So I'm not limiting myself on, oh, gee, I've only got, however many days, but I am planning on, what things I want to accomplish by what time frame. Okay? And I don't want to do it where, okay, I've got to accomplish everything by the time I'm 90, because after 90, I'm not going to have any more. That, to me, is counterproductive.
That's what it feels like.
It can be seen. Everything can be seen on many ways. The 90 or the days is just a perspective, because you are eternal. So you and I are eternal. But on the other hand, this life, under these conditions, this life we are in right now, there are other dimensions also. But in this life, we play it with the 90 years. You see, we can become 125 years also. Or maybe we can try to be the first ones to become 200 years. What I'm saying is, under this condition, in this life, in this atmosphere, in this dimension, it works with about 90 years. And when you realize that it is 90 years, or it is 100 years, or it is 125 years, when you realize that, then what I hope is that everybody gets into action on enjoying it. So it is not the limit to make us sad, but it is the limit to say, this is the reality here until we can break it. And enjoy that moment.
I've heard another perspective also that says that, you know, live every day as if it's your last, not necessarily that you're anticipating that to be so, but to make it the best ever, so that you have no days that have been wasted.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that way, at least, what you are doing is that you're making the best out of every day towards, he's using a Nightingale's phrase, and success is a progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And by doing that, you know, progressively working towards our own worthy ideals on a daily basis, then we're always working towards them, but at the same time, we're not wasting a day. And I think that's the key behind it.
I think that's Rooney's point, and I would use 150. Right, I've only got 150 years here. I'm going to get to it, because eventually those 150 will run out. So I'm going to get to it and not waste a single day.
Yeah. I would like to say also something within the day, because I'm trying to focus this. Within the day, so live your day as if it is your last day, and then within the day, there are situations, there are emotions, and so within the day you can focus. So break down the day. You can also say within the day, love every situation. Make sure that you choose for love in every situation. See, so within the day, you have a situation. You have two options to say good or bad, fear or love. So when within the day, how do you live your day as if it is your last day? You could choose to love everything, to choose to step into the vision, to choose to take the position of the person that you realize your dream already. So choose love instead of fear. Now choose love and then leave the other things as neutral.
Yeah.
Stay with your desire. Live your day, your last day, with a burning desire.
Yeah, it's good to have, you know, those are all good perspectives with, you know, I mean, everything does have a perspective, but yet it is true that the more we take and utilize, you know, self-inquiry, like at the end of the day or something like that, or, you know, or when you do meditations, it's like checking in, you know, what is the greatest person I can be today? What is the greatest ideal I could be? And what would it take for me? You know, how was I, you know, what would it take to improve this or that? Or, you know, or getting, you know, insights or feedback, you know, about how, you know, maybe learning something that there can be an improvement in, you know, what would it take me to be able to master this or that? And making it a daily ritual, then it does make it where it isn't like where you're setting limitations. It's like you're being in the present. You're dealing with the here and now.
You can have a couple of choices in a day. You can say either live it with fear or live it with love. You can either live it outside you, from outside in, or from inside out.
Oh, it's always best inside out.
Yeah. Yeah. So during the day, you got a couple of options. Love it or hate it. And if you're like hating something, then you know how your day is going to be created. So at the beginning of the day, when you wake up or when you're going to sleep, etc., tomorrow you have another day. And then when you wake up, I think what I do is I try to say, okay, the day is it's a new day. The day has just been born.
Brand new baby day, every day.
That's a brand new baby day.
I love
that. How am I going to raise this baby today?
I love that.
What am I going to do this baby? Am I going to give this baby fear, or am I going to baby love? Am I going to give this baby desire, or am I going to talk about my limitations? Brand new day.
Hey, you know what you guys were just saying about working from the outside in or the inside out? That's a really good question to use. You know, when you're going through your day and you find yourself having a negative feeling, you can just stop and ask yourself, now, am I working from the outside in or the inside out here? And then you can get clear. It's such a simple tool that we could all use, just to, okay, stop. How am I working in this here? And change the perspective.
Hey, I want to say something also. Before, I think during the last 3 months, I said something about the theater of your mind.
Yep.
So I realized, you know, the director, that you are the actor, director, a makeup artist in the theater of your mind, and you are projecting it on the screen of your life. So you are in charge of everything. I realized lately, I realized, I got a couple of things. The theater of the mind, theater of your life is exactly the same as the room of love. So the room of love is like your heart. It's like your subconsciousness. When you go into when you feel grateful, gratitude, that's the master key to enter the room of love. The room of love is where you are, you know, you are loving everything, you are with your burning desire, etc. So when you enter that room, it's like you are there, and your wish is the command of the universe. So when you are in that room, that's inside out. When you are in that room constantly, then everything is coming to you. I mean, it's like a magnetic. And I think another parallel of that room is what the Abraham Hicks calls the vortex. So I realized that when you are in the vortex, it's like you are there in your cocoon. Everything is happening. You are in the zone. It's in the zone. So, for instance, I also say, like, the room. So the theater of your mind, the room of love it's this exactly as the Garden of Eden. So it's a place where everything you wish is getting through. Now, what we do is, normally we do not live there. We are not there. We are outside. We are looking, and we are seeing, smelling, tasting all kind of things out in the world outside. But if you know the world outside, we do not know what it is. You do not know what it is. I mean, you see a car, but you only see the car and feel the car because the car is, you know, you have like senses, and you see the car through your eyes, but in your eyes it's completely dark if you look at it. So we do not know what is outside there. The only thing is real is inside. You see, so what I'm saying is, when you focus on those things, the theater of your mind, the room of love, etc., you are inside. Every day, actually, you are inside. You're living from inside out. And then when you are focusing, you see things happening outside. But that's what we are creating. When you are seeing a situation and you go and you hate that situation, what you are doing is you are going outside, and you let what is outside determine yourself and who you are. So go to back to inside, stay there, mix your vision with emotion, with love, etc., and see what happens outside. I think this knowledge, the people before The Secret, etc., they already know that that's how the world works, that it is what you are inside that creates what you feel and what you see outside. And that's what Rhonda also says. Rhonda says, if you focus on love, etc., you give that, that's what you got. That's what you will get back.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people call us dreamers, and when you talk to people about what you want to achieve, they some of them roll their eyes, or they just don't think it's a possibility. And I see a lot of people who have achieved talking about how they've always been a dreamer and everyone thought they were just a dreamer and it would never really happen. And then in line 229, Napoleon Hill says, this changed world requires practical dreamers who can and will put their dreams into action. The practical dreamers have always been and always will be the pattern makers of civilization. So I'm proud to be a dreamer. That's where it happens. It happens in the imagination.
Me too.
Very true.
I also like where he puts in the next paragraph, we who desire to accumulate riches, or are you always into change that word with anything that you want to acquire or achieve, should remember the real leaders of the world always have been men who harnessed and put into practical use the intangible, unseen forces of unborn opportunity and have converted those forces or impulses of thought into skyscrapers, cities, factories, airplanes, automobiles, and every form of convenience that makes life more pleasant. Those impulses of thought are those hunches and those little inspirations that we get when we're focusing on something, and I just love it when that happens.
Which line was that?
That was from 234.
Oh, thank you.
See, if we're not imagining and dreaming and living from that point, we won't be receiving the impulses of thought and the things that we need as we go along. We'll just be receiving more of the same. Does anyone have anything else before we finish up?
Great call.
No, all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's all good.
We're ready to wrap up.
Yeah, it was a great conversation.
Well, thanks everyone. I'll try and get this up as soon as I can so everyone else can enjoy it too.
Are you going to be putting up the power?
Yeah, sorry, I've just had such a full week this week. I'll try and get that done
That's fine.
today or tomorrow.
Okay.
But yeah, it'll be up there.
All right. Sounds good. Well, have a good week, everybody.
Hey, yeah. See you guys. Take care, okay?
Thanks
Okay,
everyone.
bye.
Have fun.
Talk to you later.
Good night, good morning, good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.